3 days later, Obi-Wan Kenobi stood in a small room of the Theed Temple in which the deaths of heroes were mourned and their lives celebrated. Qui-Gon Jinn's body lay in state on a bier in the plaza just outside, awaiting cremation. Already the citizenry and officials of the Naboo and the Gungan peoples were gathering to honor the Jedi Master. Much had changed in the lives of those who had fought in the struggle for Naboo sovereignty. With the collapse of the droid army, the Trade Federation's control over Naboo had been broken. All of the ground transports, tanks, staps, and weapons and supplies were in the hands of the Republic. Viceroy Newt Gunray, his lieutenant Rune Hacko, and the remainder of the Nemoidian Occupation Council had been shipped as prisoners to Coruscant to await trial. Senator Palpatine had been elected as Supreme Chancellor of the Republic, and he had promised swift action in the dispensing of justice to the captives. Queen Amidala had outfoxed the Nemoidians one final time by pretending to surrender so she could gain safe access to the Viceroy before he had time to flee. She had communicated to Sabe to break away from the struggle taking place several floors below and to use the service passages to reach the Queen's chambers and then make her appearance before the Viceroy. It was a calculated risk, and Sabe might not have been able to get there in time. Had she not, Amidala would have triggered the secret compartment release and fought for her freedom in any case. She was young, but she was not without courage or daring. She had shown intelligence and insight from the beginning of the time the Jedi had come to assist her. Obi-Wan thought she would make a very good queen. But it was a 9-year-old boy who had saved them all. Even without knowing exactly what he was doing, Anakin Skywalker had flown a starfighter into the teeth of the Federation defense, penetrated their shields, landed in the belly of the Nemoidian flagship, torpedoed the ship's reactor, and set off a chain reaction of explosions that destroyed the control station. It was the destruction of the central transmitter that had caused the droid army to freeze in place, their communications effectively short-circuited. Anakin claimed not to have attacked with any sort of plan in mind or fired his starfighter's torpedoes with any expectation of hitting the reactor. But after hearing the boy's tale and questioning him thoroughly, Obi-Wan believed Anakin was guided by something more than the thinking of ordinary men. That extraordinarily high midi-chlorian count gave the boy a connection to the Force that even Jedi Masters on the order of Yoda might never achieve. Qui-Gon, he now believed, had been right. Anakin Skywalker was the chosen one. He paced the room, dressed in fresh clothing for the funeral, soft, loose-fitting, sand-colored Jedi Knight garb, Qui-Gon's lightsaber, now his own, hanging from his belt. The Jedi Council had come to Naboo for the funeral and to speak again with Anakin. They were doing so now, close by, making a final assessment based on what had transpired since their last session with the boy. Obi-Wan thought the outcome of their deliberations must be a foregone conclusion. He could not imagine now that it wouldn't be. He stopped his pacing and stared momentarily at nothing, thinking of Qui-Gon Jinn, his master, his teacher, his friend. He had failed Qui-Gon in life, but he would carry on his work now, honoring him in death by fulfilling his promise to train the boy, no matter what. Listen to me, he thought, smiling ruefully. I sound like him. The door opened, and Yoda appeared. He entered the room in a slow shuffle, leaning on his walking stick, his wizened face sleepy-eyed and contemplative. Master Yoda, Obi-Wan greeted, hurrying forward to meet him, bowing deferentially. The Jedi Master nodded.
Confer on you the level of Jedi Knight, the Council does. Decided about the boy, the Council is, Obi-Wan,
he advised solemnly. He is to be trained? The big ears cocked forward, and the lids to those sleepy eyes widened.
So impatient you are. So sure of what has been decided?
Obi-Wan bit his tongue and kept his silence, waiting dutifully on the other. Yoda studied him carefully.
A great warrior was Qui-Gon Jinn,
he gargled softly, his strange voice sad.
but so much more he could have been, if not so fast he had run. More slowly you must proceed, Obi-Wan."
Obi-Wan stood his ground. He understood what the rest of us did not about the boy. But Yoda shook his head.
"Be not so quick to judge. Not everything is understanding. Not all at once is it revealed. Years it takes to become a Jedi Knight. Years more to become one with the Force."
He moved over to a place where the fading light shone in through a window, soft and golden. Sunset approached, the appointed time for their farewell to Qui-Gon. Yoda's gaze was distant when he spoke.
"Decided the council is," he repeated. "Trained the boy shall be."
Obi-Wan felt a surge of relief and joy flood through him, and a grateful smile escaped him. Yoda saw the smile.
"Pleased you are. So certain this is right."
The wrinkled face tightened.
"Clouded this boy's future remains, Obi-Wan. A mistake to train him it is."
"But the council—"
"Yes, decided."
The sleepy eyes lifted.
"Disagree with that decision, I must."
There was a long silence as the two faced each other, listening to the sounds of the funeral preparations taking place without. Obi-Wan did not know what to say. Clearly, the council had decided against the advice of Yoda. That in itself was unusual. That the Jedi Master chose to make a point of it here emphasized the extent of his concerns about Anakin Skywalker. Obi-Wan spoke carefully. "I will take this boy as my Padawan, Master. I will train him in the best way I can. But I will bear in mind what you have told me here. I will go carefully. I will heed your warnings. I will keep close watch over his progress." Yoda studied him a moment, then nodded.
"Your promise, then, remember well, young Jedi," he said softly. "Sufficient it is if you do."
Obi-Wan bowed in acknowledgement. "I will remember." Together, they went out into a blaze of light.